You weren't born to live small. You weren't placed here to pay bills and survive. You were placed here to build, to dominate, to take command of your reality. Wealth does not respond to wishes. It bends to the will of the relentless. And the truth is, most people will never understand how close they were to everything they wanted before they gave in to their weaker thoughts. Comment, I am training my mind for wealth. If you're done living below your potential, they'll call it luck, they'll call it coincidence. They'll say you were born with something they weren't, but they'll never see the nights you went to war with your doubts. They won't see the mornings you woke up with nothing but a vision burning behind your eyes. They'll never understand the discipline required to believe in something you can't yet see. Wealth is not out there floating in the clouds, waiting to land in your lap. Wealth is attracted to structure, to clarity, to men and women who walk like they already own it, because in their minds, they already do. That is where it starts. That is where it always starts. The mind is the soil. Every result is just a harvest. If the mind is filled with fear, you will reap hesitation. If it is filled with clarity and decision, you will reap outcomes that shake the very ground you walk on. The world bends to the person who bends their mind. You must stop treating wealth like it's outside of you. It's not. It's a reflection, a mirror. What you believe, you attract. What you expect, you receive. What you train for, you become. So train, not lightly, not when it's convenient, but like your life depends on it, because it does. You can't think casually and expect extraordinary results. You must think with force, with fire, with precision. The average man thinks to survive. The wealthy man thinks to dominate. That difference, it starts in the mind. Before anything happens outside of you, it is decided inside of you. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There is only the work of becoming undeniable, of becoming someone success cannot ignore, not through arrogance, but through unshakable mental discipline, through consistency that most people will never understand. You don't get wealthy by accident. You get wealthy by design. You become intentional about your words, your thoughts, your associations. You stop speaking scarcity. You stop tolerating weakness. You train your mind to hold the image of your future so vividly that the world is forced to catch up. Most people are waiting for the right moment, waiting for motivation, waiting for someone to believe in them. But the wealthy don't wait. They move. They act. They become. They don't look for signs. They are the sign. Stop drifting. Stop waking up and letting the world write your script. Take the pen back. Command your morning. Declare your intention. Remind your mind every single day who you are and what you're building, because if you don't, your environment will do it for you. The people who win are not lucky. They are locked, tuned in, clear. When you train your mind to operate on a wealth frequency, the noise of the world fades. Doubt dies. Distraction disappears. And decisions become automatic. Discipline is the gatekeeper of abundance. If you can't master your mind, you will never master your money. You must train it to focus, to endure, to override emotion, because feelings lie. Vision does not. You don't train for today. You train for the future you're building. You sacrifice now for what's coming later. You deny ease in the present for the empire waiting to be built tomorrow. That is the mindset of wealth. That is the mindset of the elite. Your thoughts become commands. Your commands become habits. Your habits become results. So if your results are weak, go back to the thoughts. Fix the root. Adjust the signal. You're broadcasting either fear or faith every second of the day. Look around. Most people are tuned to failure. They repeat failure thoughts. They rehearse worst-case scenarios like scripts, and they wonder why nothing changes. Change your mental programming and your external life will start bending like metal in fire. The mind doesn't care what you feed it. It will believe repetition over truth. That's why affirmations work. That's why visualization matters. Not because they are cute ideas, but because they rewire your system. They tell your subconscious what to obey. You want wealth? Then don't just work hard. Work smart. And to work smart, your mind must be sharp, alert, trained like a weapon. You must train it every day, like your survival depends on it, because in many ways it does. The mind trained for wealth doesn't react. It creates. It doesn't ask, can I afford this? It asks, how can I build this? It doesn't shrink in chaos. It thrives in it. It doesn't fear failure. It feeds on it. Every single challenge in your life is an invitation to rise, to upgrade your mindset, to push beyond what you once believed was possible. If you decline the invitation, you stay the same. If you accept it, you evolve. Wealthy people don't just think bigger, they feel different. They vibrate at a different frequency. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's the result of repetition, of vision, of decision. Day after day, year after year, you must become immune to the noise, immune to the fear of others, immune to the limitations they try to hand you. Their fear is not your inheritance. Their doubts are not your blueprint. Build your own. Write your own. Design your own. When you wake up tomorrow, don't wake up to survive. Wake up to dominate. Wake up with a strategy, a goal, a schedule, and the emotional discipline to follow through, whether you feel like it or not. If you want to attract wealth, then you must become someone worthy of it. Not just in talk, not in fantasy, but in the trenches, in the hours no one sees, in the disciplines no one applauds. That's where it's built. That's where you're forged. Wealth is attracted to structure. It flows toward order, toward vision, backed by commitment. So if your life is chaotic, fix the chaos. If your mind is cluttered, clean it up, because confusion repels money and clarity pulls it in like gravity. You must eliminate distractions with surgical precision. Cut off anything that pollutes your focus, people, habits, environments. If it doesn't push you forward, it is pulling you back. There is no neutral. Everything is either building your future or breaking it. The wealthy don't think casually. They don't entertain random ideas. Their thoughts are weapons, directed, deliberate. Their attention is currency, and they invest it with intention. Every minute spent on nonsense is money left on the table. Train your brain to ask the right questions. Not what if it doesn't work, but how do I make it work? Not what if I fail, but what will I learn? Your entire life shifts when your questions evolve. The wrong questions create poverty. The right ones create empires. Your subconscious is always listening, always. So guard your language. Stop saying I can't. Stop saying it's hard. Stop reinforcing limitation. Speak victory. Speak abundance. Speak like a builder, not a beggar. This is your time. No more delay. No more waiting for the right mood, the right person, the right conditions. Conditions don't make you. Decisions do. And the decision to train your mind is the decision to rewrite your destiny. What you tolerate becomes your standard, and what you repeat becomes your identity. If you keep allowing fear to drive, don't be surprised when your life goes nowhere. You must evict weakness from your mental kingdom permanently. Repetition is the sculptor of destiny. You don't become what you think once. You become what you think daily, hourly, obsessively, until your brain starts adjusting your behavior to match your internal blueprint. Mental training is not optional. Not if you want wealth, not if you want power. You train your body in the gym. You train your skills at work. But the wealthiest people, they train their minds with the precision of an athlete. They don't rely on motivation. They operate on decision. That's the difference. Motivation fades. Decision endures. If you're still waiting to feel ready, you've already lost. Wealth responds to the person who moves, despite emotion. You have to be able to move when your feelings scream quit. You have to be able to execute when everything in you wants to stay in bed. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards persistence, relentless, unreasonable persistence. You are not your emotions. You are not your past. You are what you decide to become. And you decide that by training your mind to focus on what you're building, not what you fear. Focus is power. Lock in. You were never meant to be average. That feeling inside of you, the one that aches for more, it's not greed. It's calling. It's purpose. You were built to create, to rise, to expand what's possible. But that future won't arrive on its own. You must command it. Every morning is a battle, and the enemy is comfort. Comfort kills ambition. Comfort lulls you into mediocrity. That's why the most successful people design discomfort into their lives, because they know growth is born in pressure. Train your mind to love pressure, to welcome it, to eat it for breakfast. Don't avoid hard things. Run into them, because each time you conquer a challenge, you gain muscle, mental muscle. And that muscle is what wealth trusts. You cannot attract greatness while entertaining smallness. Stop settling. Stop accepting crumbs and calling it a feast. Your mindset sets your ceiling, and the moment you raise your internal standards, your life will rise to match. This is not a game. This is your legacy. Your future family will live in the house that your decisions build today. Every sacrifice, every choice, every mental rep you do now becomes bricks in the foundation of your financial freedom. You don't rise by accident. You rise on purpose, with intention, with repetition, with an inner code that says, I don't quit, I don't flinch, I don't fold. That mindset is rare, but when you have it, wealth has no choice but to find you. Let's cut through the noise. Success isn't sexy. It's not loud. It's repetitive. It's doing the same foundational work again and again until the world begins to notice, until you are undeniable, until the results are so loud you no longer have to speak. If you can't do the basics with mastery, don't ask for millions. Don't beg for big opportunities if you can't manage small ones. Wealth is a test of stewardship. The universe gives more to those who can carry more. Prove you can carry it. Train your mind to see time as an investment, not something to kill. Train it to turn losses into leverage. Train it to stay calm in chaos. That calm, that poise under pressure is what separates the broke from the builders. The future belongs to those who decide, who move, who train their minds like warriors. No more hesitation. No more playing small. You know what needs to be done, and if you don't, your inner voice already told you. You just haven't listened yet. This is your command center, your control tower. When your mind locks in, everything else falls into place. Action becomes automatic. Discipline becomes natural. Vision becomes reality, because the mind leads and the world follows. Your transformation begins the moment you take full ownership of your thoughts, not partial ownership, full. Every doubt, every fear, every excuse that's you. That's your programming. But the beauty is this, you can rewrite it. You were not born with limits. You were taught them, downloaded them, and now it's set, your responsibility to uninstall every line of mental code that says, I can set, I set not ready, that set's too much. Erase it, replace it with I set and building, I set and capable, I set and becoming. Wealth is a mindset before it's a number. And if you can't upgrade your inner world, no amount of outer success will last, because your life can never rise higher than the thermostat of your beliefs. Raise the settings and watch everything shift. You want more? Then think more. Not louder, clearer. Not faster, sharper. Wealthy people are precise. They don't waste energy. They don't leak focus. Every thought has direction. Every decision has weight, and every action stacks. Start moving like someone who already owns the future they speak about. Act like the person you see in your vision. Speak like them. Think like them. Because until your behavior matches your dream will remain just that, a dream. The shift happens when your mind is no longer a passenger but a pilot. When you stop reacting and start engineering your outcomes, no more drifting, no more hoping. You architect the vision, you lay the bricks, you raise the empire. Let's get this straight. Wishing is for the weak. Hoping is not a strategy. The wealthy don't wish, they will. They don't hope, they create. You must become that type of person, ruthless with your focus, unapologetic about your vision. You can no longer afford to negotiate with your lower self, the one that says, it's okay to slack today, the one that says, just this once, That voice is the destroyer of empires. And every time you listen, you trade legacy for momentary relief. Your power lies in decision. In the decision to wake up and execute, regardless of how you feel. In the decision to repeat your vision until it's burned into your brain. In the decision to cut off every distraction that doesn't serve your future. Your mind is a garden. What are you planting? Every scroll, every conversation, every complaint, it's a seed. If you're not planting with intention, don't be surprised when weeds overrun your life. Rip them out. Start over. Plant greatness. The moment you stop tolerating mediocrity in your mind, your life will begin to rise, the people around you will change, opportunities will appear, doors you didn't know existed will start to open, but only after you change what's inside. You've already suffered through doubt, through poverty, through playing small. Now suffer for the dream, suffer for the vision, because that suffering, the discipline, the grind, the focus, is what turns bones into steel, and steel builds empires. You must stop speaking like a slave and start thinking like a king. The world doesn't care where you came from. It only cares who you become. And the mind trained for wealth stops blaming the past and starts building the future. There is no victim mindset in abundance. You cannot carry entitlement into greatness. You cannot hold on to excuses and rise at the same time. You must drop the story, drop the wound, drop the drama, or be buried beneath it. You were not born to beg. You were born to build. Speak like it, think like it, move like it, and do it consistently enough that the world has no choice but to believe it too. Consistency is louder than talent. It's louder than talk. It's proof. Train your mind to ignore the noise, every critic, every doubter, every whisper of fear. They are background static on the radio of your destiny. Tune them out. Tune in to your voice, your clarity, your truth. When others fold, you rise. When others fear, you act. That sets the difference between being average and being elite. Not circumstances, but conditioning. Mental conditioning, and it starts the moment you say no more. This life will give you exactly what you demand from it. Nothing more, nothing less. Train your mind to expect more. Not wish, not hope, expect. And then back that expectation with aligned, relentless, disciplined action. This world will try to tame you. It will try to box you in with logic, fear, and fake limitations. But wealth, the kind that lasts, is reserved for those who refuse to fit inside a system that was never designed for them to win. You must develop tunnel vision. See only the goal. Block everything else out. You don't need more opinions. You don't need approval. You need obsession. You need to be so committed to your vision that quitting feels like betrayal. The average person walks through life reacting. The wealthy, they respond with precision. They wake up with a target. They know what must be done, and they do it, whether they feel like it or not, whether anyone's watching or not. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It says, I will not let the weaker version of me win today. That decision, repeated daily, is the foundation of every great fortune. Not talent, not luck, just self-mastery. Don't tell me what you want. Show me what you're willing to suffer for, because what you're willing to sacrifice for, you will eventually own. You will never rise above your level of discipline, and the mind is the gatekeeper. Train it like your life depends on it, because it does. Not just for money, for purpose, for impact, for legacy. A mind that is mastered creates a life that inspires. That's the end game. Not just wealth, but worth. Not just success, but significance. You must learn to live in the tension between where you are and where you're going. That discomfort, that gap, that's your training ground. Don't escape it. Embrace it. That's where mental muscle is built. Stop praying for easier paths. Start praying for stronger legs. Stop looking for shortcuts. Start becoming the person who can handle the long way. That mindset, that commitment to capacity, is what wealth respects. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to destiny. Every time you rise early to build, to learn, to stretch your vision, you stack confidence. That stack becomes a foundation. And on that foundation, you can build anything. You will be tested. You will fail. You will feel doubt claw at your throat. But the trained mind, it doesn't flinch. It feels the fear and executes anyway. It takes the hit and moves forward anyway. It hears the noise and stays locked in. You were not placed here to live on repeat. You were placed here to evolve. Every day is a choice. Expand or shrink. Build or break. Lead or follow. And those choices start in thought. Before they ever show up in life, they live in your mind. So guard it. Fortify it. Sharpen it. Because once your mind is trained, you become unstoppable. Not because you never fall, but because you rise faster. You adapt stronger. You lead better, and you attract exactly what you've become. You don't need permission to be great. You don't need applause to keep going. You don't need the world to see your value before you do. The wealthy move in silence. They grind in shadows. They let results speak. Train your mind to delay gratification, to trust the process, to plant seeds now that won't bear fruit for years but will bear legacy for generations. That kind of thinking, that's rare, and rare always becomes valuable. Your thoughts are currency. Every belief you allow into your mind has a cost. Some bankrupt you, some build empires. Choose wisely, because your thoughts will hire your habits, and your habits will shape your future. Eliminate weak language. Maybe, someday, I'll try. Burn it. Replace it with I will. I am. It's done. Speak like a builder. Think like a warrior. Move like a king. You don't ask for permission to create. You command the process. The most dangerous person in the world is the one who no longer needs motivation because they've trained their mind to execute without it. Be that person. The one who doesn't wait to feel ready. The one who moves before the world believes. And when the results start pouring in, stay quiet. Let them think it was magic. Let them call it luck. Let them wonder how you did it. Smile, because you'll know it wasn't magic. It was mental warfare, and you won. Now is the moment you decide who you will become. Not tomorrow. Not when things feel better. Not when you have more time. Now. Because the future does not wait for the undecided. It rewards the relentless, the focused, the mentally trained. You are either feeding your power or feeding your pain. Every thought is a vote. Every habit is a signal. Every decision is a declaration of what kind of life you're building. The question is, are you building what you say you want, or are you lying to yourself? It's not enough to want wealth. You must become wealth. You must think like it, breathe like it, expect it. Not from a place of arrogance, but from absolute alignment with your purpose. The stronger your alignment, the faster wealth flows. And if you slip, get up. If you fail, learn. If you break, rebuild. Because the mind trained for wealth does not quit. It recalibrates. It refocuses. It returns to the vision again and again until the world surrenders. You are not here to be like the rest. You are here to become a leader, a force, a living example of what happens when a human being trains their mind so powerfully that the universe itself starts to listen. That's the level, that's the standard. If you, Sep, made it this far, drop a 100 in the comments. It shows you are part of the 1% that Seps is improving every single day.